Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brews with Brian, a craft beer review podcast. Craft beer is beer that is brewed in smaller breweries, not these big corporate machine breweries that we're all aware of. Craft beer takes time and patience, and the people that brew this stuff care about the product they're delivering to us. On this week's episode, I'm reviewing Mach One IPA from Rocket Republic Brewing Company, Homestyle from Bearded Iris Brewing, and Cream Ale from Cross-Eyed Owl Brewing Company. You can check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify, so don't forget to tell your friends. But let's kick this show off. And first up on this week's show, we have Mach One IPA from Rocket Republic Brewing Company out of Huntsville, Alabama. Mach One IPA has an ABV of 6.9% and a rotating availability. The description from the website says, our interpretation of an India Pale Ale comes fully loaded in all-American style with its sweet tangerine aroma and tangy citrus flavor. An ample amount of rye malt is added to the mash early in the brewing process, igniting a zesty pepper kick to the tongue, which contradicts the sensationally smooth characteristics coming from our cataclysmic combination of Cascade and Centennial hops. Warning, this beer may cause spontaneous combustion of the taste buds. This beer pours crystal clear golden yellow in color, with a nice red tint, a nice 2 to 3 finger white head, and a fairly significant amount of sticky lacing on the side of the glass. Aromas of grapefruit, orange peel, pine, and bitter hops, which is your traditional IPA aroma. Tasting this beer is just nice citrus flavors with hop bitterness, your typical everyday IPA flavors. It's a medium-bodied beer with nice carbonation, very crisp and refreshing. This is a very solid IPA, and I love it when local breweries make fantastic beer, and this one's out of Huntsville, which is fairly close to where I live. So, if you're in North Alabama and can try anything from Rocket Republic, make sure you try their Mach One IPA, because it is just fantastic. But overall, I'm going to give Mach One IPA from Rocket Republic Brewing Company 4 stars. And the next beer on this week's show is Homestyle from Bearded Iris Brewing out of Nashville, Tennessee. Homestyle has an ABV of 6% and a year-round availability. The description from the website says, a soft, juicy IPA brewed with oats and intensely hopped with mosaic hops. This beer pours a 2-fingered head with decent retention. The head was bright, white, and foamy. The head of the beer did leave a bit of lacing on the glass. The color of the beer is a pale gold with straw yellow hues. The beer is cloudy, typically of this style of beer. The initial aroma in this beer is oranges, lemons, a hint of herbs, and a touch of sweetness. Next, I smell bread, crackers, pineapple, lightly toasted malts, and mango. Tasting this beer, I get oranges, lemons, floral esters, and a touch of herbs. Next, I taste yeast, crackers, pine, earthy hay, mangoes, and a hint of malt sweetness. The mouthfeel of the beer is astringent and crisp. The body of the beer is medium. Carbonation is there as well, and a medium finish. I have enjoyed this brewery's IPAs before. The beer is refreshing and crisp. For me, I would have liked to taste more of a classic New England IPA citrus note. I do get a bit of pine in the beer with the green hay. Nonetheless, a solid beer to sip on, certainly significantly better than the last few New England IPAs I've drank. And Bearded Iris is a fantastic brewery out of Nashville, so if you can find it, you gotta try anything they do. It's all great. But overall, I'm gonna give Homestyle from Bearded Iris Brewing 4 stars. And the last beer on this week's show is Cream Ale from Cross-Eyed Owl Brewing Company out of Decatur, Alabama. Cream Ale has an ABV of 5% and a rotating availability. The description from the website says, crisp, thirst-quenching lawnmower beer, short and sweet. Pouring this beer, it pours just as you expect, straw yellow in color, translucent with a very carbonated appearance. Small, thin head of foam and no residual lace around the glass. The nose is very thin, and it's definitely a lawnmower beer, something you could drink while cutting your grass and drink multiple of them. Pale malts, light sweetness, very subtle hint of corn. Crisp, clean, sweet, again a hint of creamed corn, a subtle fruitiness, and a malt backbone that's not overbearing. It's not the type of beer I typically drink, but for a light beer, I'm not complaining. It's very light, smooth, and it's got a refreshing feel, which is what you need with a lawnmower beer. Pretty sharp carbonation, but again, a very clean drinking beer. Cross-Eyed Owl out of Decatur is another brewery close to where I live, so I try to check them out as often as possible. But overall, I'm going to give Cream Ale from Cross-Eyed Owl Brewing Company out of Decatur, Alabama, 4 stars. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Brews with Brian. I want to thank everybody for listening. The show is growing each and every week, so I want to thank everybody again. You can check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. So don't forget to like and share. Tell your friends if they enjoy craft beer like you do. And let's try to grow the show as much as possible. On today's show, I reviewed Mach One IPA from Rocket Republic Brewing Company, Homestyle from Bearded Iris Brewing, and Cream Ale from Cross-Eyed Owl Brewing Company. I want to give a special shout out to Southern Package, my hometown craft beer shop, where I buy my craft beer at. Wonderful people, they'll treat you right, so if you live in Northwest Alabama, make sure you check them out. They're just fantastic people. But that's going to do it for this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.